always nice to start a video with a fish, even if it is only a little one, but it's even nicer to catch a fish right out the edge. And I was lucky with this one. I saw a couple of fish feeding right in the margin, just put the rod down on the deck and just left the reel on, or the clutch going, and it just went, it absolutely screamed off. And it's yeah, it's not a bad way to start the day. So let's drop this one back and I'll let you know exactly what's gone on so far and how I'm planning on fishing this session. It's probably the smallest mirror carp I've ever caught, but it's another fish. I put that rod out for what I think is probably the 4th time. I think we've got a little bit catching up to do because this morning has been chaotic. I've been here for about 40 minutes and yeah, I don't really know what's happened, if I'm completely honest. So when I first got here, I had a quick look in the swim, and to the right hand side of me there are a few fish mooching about in the edge. They definitely looked like carp, so I thought, right, I'm going to take a bit of a chance here, just put a few little pellets out, which they started grubbing around for quite quickly. So I thought, all right, let's just drop a rod straight on it and see what happens. And yeah, within about 10 minutes, that rod was gone. And I'm actually fishing 2 different rods. I've got one carp rod and one feeder rod with me. Throughout this video, I'll explain what I'm doing on each one. But so far, I haven't managed to have both rods in the water at one time, which is a good problem to have, especially considering my last session, which if you saw it, you would have seen it didn't really go too well. I think if I'm completely honest, I was fishing too heavy for smaller fish and I was fishing too light for bigger fish, which in that sort of combination, it just didn't work. So I wanted to refine things a little bit for this session. And so far, it looks like that is paying off. So yeah, I've had 3 bites on that carp rod in about 40 minutes. And I did actually have a bite on the feeder rod as well. Unfortunately, I lost that one. Just hook pulled as it was kind of kiting to the left of me. There's still movement down that right hand side now. So yeah, I just wanted a quick catch up, really explain what's going on. And I just wanted to rest myself, I think. So I'm going to get the carp rod back out first, and then I can try and work on getting the feeder rod out, and hopefully we can get a little bit organised in this swim, because it is a little bit of a mess and I think I need a coffee as well. So let's get sorted. Literally, as I put the rod down, or as I clipped the bobbin on, it sprung straight back up. Let's see if we can get one live to the camera like that, where I cast, put it down, and then hopefully catch a fish very, very quickly. But let's get them straight back. Soaked. Just before I put the carp rod back out, I am just going to quickly run through exactly how I'm fishing on this rod, because obviously it's very different to the feeder rod. But I'm using a little 2-ounce lead, so nice and light, but it's on a system from a company called Evolve Tackle, where it's essentially a bit of a running lead. So it can run like that, but you can also clip it in place. And when it's clipped in place, it obviously doesn't run. Sorry, it's wet at the moment, so it's a bit slippery. So it doesn't run when it's clipped in place, but the idea is that if a carp shakes its head, then this unclips and then turns into a running system, which makes it really, really hard for the carp to actually use the lead to then eject the hook. So coming off that, I've just got a little quick change swivel, And that leads to my rig, which is really simple. It's a little blowback rig, but with just like a little kicker on the end. I've got a little bit of putty along it just to pin everything down nicely, and then that's going to a little 15mm Cremino boilie. It's like a hard hook bait, and then with that I'm using again the Impulse fruit gel and just topping off each time I cast back out. And yeah, this is the method that's doing the trick. Hook wise, I think it's a size 8 Gardner Mugger. So not over the top, and it's probably about the biggest that I'd want to use on a lake like this, when the average size has obviously been very small. But you never really know what to expect when you're turning up to a new venue that you've never fished before. But yeah, the average size in here does seem to be maybe about £5. I was expecting or hoping it would be a little bit bigger, but we're getting bites. That's the main thing. So let's get this one back out and hopefully we can have a few more. I'm not going far, I'm going about 25 yards into the middle, somewhere like that, just straight across to that tree, sinking the line, and that's where I put the spreader pellet and boilie probably about 45 minutes ago now. And the last 2 casts I've done, by the time I've actually set the bob in, it has near enough been away. So let's see if we can make it a hat trick. So I'm using the 6mm Impulse pellets purely because they're just a bit heavier than the 2.3s and obviously go a little bit further. So it just helps to reach a further spot without the use of spod rods or anything like that. So it's a lot less disturbance if pellets just trickling in like this. So just a few pouches. I'm aiming to do a few pouches like this about once an hour, just to keep it topped up, keep the stimulant actually going into the water, keep the fish switched on into that kind of involuntary feeding mode. Strangely enough, it's gone very, very quiet on the carp rod, and the feeder rod is the one that's getting all the action. It's just been bite after bite, most of them in very little. This is about the biggest of the bunch so far, but still hoping out that we might get one a little bit bigger. But let's get this one back for now and get the feeder rod back out. So just before I put the feeder back out, I'm just going to talk you through very quickly how I'm actually fishing with it today. Very similar to last time that I was out, where I'm using the little Preston method feeders, and with that I'm using a little bit of ground bait that I've actually mixed up with some of the fruit impulse liquid. So it's a good way to get the stimulant actually into the swim, but without having to kind of use other means. It's within the ground bait, it will slowly disperse and obviously lead to that feeding response that everyone is trying to achieve. So yeah, really good way to actually get the impulse into swim. And then I've slightly upped my hook link on last week. I'm using I think it's a £9 hook link. It's actually one of the Guru pre-tied rigs. They're only 4-inch little rigs, so they're really good for when it comes to like method feeder fishing, because obviously everything is very close by. The idea of using a method feeder is that you've got a small pass of the bait and everything gets engulfed. So yeah, it's £9 hook link with a little size 10 barbless hook. And then hook bait wise, I'm actually using one of these little mainline 8mm cell wafters. So it's a really nice little size wafter, but to then complement that, I'm using a little bit of the fruit impulse gel. So I'm just kind of dotting a little bit on there, just to give it that, again, extra attraction. So you're getting that impulse into the swim, and obviously that is slowly building up with each cast of the ground bait going out, and then each cast of the actual gel getting into the water. Ground bait wise, I'm not using much, I'm not completely coating it. I'm literally just having enough in there for a bite, so it's kind of just covering it, and then that's it, just like that. Cast that out, and then I've been getting bites pretty quickly and consistently, which is nice. So I'm fishing fairly open water, which is kind of handy when you're using a feeder rod for carp. You don't want to be fishing too tight to snags, because obviously you don't have as much backbone to it as you would do with a like a normal carp rod. Wish I could say that was my alarm, but it's next door. Now I do quickly just want to run through the different Biosource products that I've been using. Firstly, it is the Impulse Gel. Now it's probably worth saying that all of the Biosource products do actually contain the Impulse stimulant, which is why it's all the Impulse range. But yeah, the first one is the Impulse Gel. Now this can be used for a whole load of different things. I've been using it purely on my hook baits today. It's a really thick consistency, so that means that it does coat the hook bait nicely, and it will obviously stay on for a good period of time to release that attraction and that stimulant actually into the swim. But this can be also used on things like PVA bags, little PVA mesh sticks and things like that as well, because it is PVA friendly. So it's a really good way if you're just using your normal pellets or something like that. Good way to introduce this into the swim without having to worry about dosing pellets and that kind of thing. But I've also been using the Impulse Liquid. Again, a really handy product that can be used in loads of different ways. Today, as you've seen, I've been using it on my ground bait to actually get amongst the ground bait and slowly release the impulse into the swim. But you can use it on pellets. You can dose pellets with it to build up that kind of attraction. You can use it for loads of different things. Again, it is PVA friendly as well, so you can dose your pellets and then put them into PVA bags, sticks, mesh, that kind of thing. The other nice thing about this as well is that it's available in 4 different flavours, as is the gel, but you can get these in fruit, sweet cream, fish, and the original, which is actually an unscented flavour. So if you're wanting to just use the scent of your chosen bait, then go for the original, because then you've still got the attraction of the impulse stimulant itself. So yeah, really good to know that this and the gel, and also the paste as well, is available in all 4 different flavours. And then finally, these have fast become my go-to pellet. So this is the Impulse pellet. I've actually been using 6mm today, I think I said earlier, because it just means I can catapult them out that little bit further. But I am a big fan of the 2.3mm as well, so they're tiny little pellets that if you're fishing in margins, if you're pole fishing, you've got like a cup on the end of your pole, those really fine pellets are ideal if you're fishing for smaller fish. But again, where they are that little bit smaller, they will break down a bit quicker, and then again releasing the stimulant actually into the water that little bit quicker as well. So there's definitely for each of the Impulse products, there's definitely certain situations where they thrive, but of course you can mix and match them, as I have been today. I've been using all 3 different products in maybe not the traditional way, not the way that they've actually been manufactured for, but in a way that has definitely worked and definitely paid off. Well, that is me all packed up. I've had a really good day down here at Trippenkennet, and I'll definitely be back, because it's always nice to find a venue that you can turn up and have a few bites. It did go a little bit quiet during the course of the day, but this morning it was frantic. I couldn't do anything wrong, but the sun's really out now. You can probably see that I'm very white and pasty. I think it's going to be a really nice evening, but the fish are very much up on the surface, cruising about, just enjoying themselves, and there is a no floating bait rule here. So I've packed up, I'm going to be on my way, but I definitely want to come back here, and it'd be really cool to actually try the other lake here on the complex, the smaller fish lake, the silverfish lake, should we call it, because they have been quite small today. But it'd be nice to come back with a lighter rod, maybe a little float, and then just use some of the 2.3mm pellets, because I think that other lake is where they really come into their own. So that's the thing with the Impulse products. There's only a small range, but that small range can be used in so many different ways, and there's so many different applications for each of those products. So yeah, it's been really good here, really good getting out for Biosource once again, and I can't wait to get out next time.